Hello, friends, and welcome. Last night, 7.28b came out, and we looked at it briefly on stream, but now in this video, we are going to highlight the support-relevant changes. So let's just go down the list. Orb of Corrosion has a 100 gold recipe on it now. I think this is okay. I think you'll still see Orb of Corrosion picked up, but now it has to be a good Orb of Corrosion game. Before, it was just a little too good, and everyone was just buying it. Like, it didn't matter if it was needed or not. It was just good. So every game, it was getting picked up, multiple heroes. Now with this recipe change, I think you're more likely to only get one Orb of Corrosion per team instead of like everyone getting it. And it has to be a good Orb of Corrosion game. So you're going to have to look and see, all right, can I make use of this slow? Can I make use of this negative armor? Do we have like that right click damage, the negative armor synergy from a teammate? Do I need health? I need all those? Okay, it looks like a good Orb of Corrosion game, and then I'll buy it. But it has to be, so if you're against a bunch of high mobile heroes, then that slow not going to be so useful. Maybe your team's heavy magic damage, that negative armor not so useful. Those games, I don't think you'll get it. I think we're more likely to see four supports like Spirit Breaker and Bounty Hunter. They were buying Orb of Corrosion a lot. Now they may just go back to maybe I just get the Orb of Venom, because that was probably the most important aspect for a support, to slow people in these ganks, slow them down so that your mid, your carries, your offlaners, whatever, could hit the enemy hero. The negative armor was nice, and the bit of health to tank up, also nice. But, if it doesn't look like a good Orb of Corrosion game, we're not going to invest that much into it. The Orb of Venom, I think, was the most key aspect. So if it doesn't even look like a good Orb of Venom game, maybe you've skipped entirely now. But I think we'll see less of Orb of Corrosion. Falcon Blade, I don't think many supports will buy Falcon Blade, but what I expect this to do, I think this will be good for intelligence and agility cores. So if you see what it gives you, the health, the damage, mana regen, everyone wants. So that's great for everyone, keeps them topped up. That'll let them fight a little more, or maybe farm a little more. But usually when you're getting some cheap health and damage, that means you're looking to fight a bit more. Strength heroes don't really need a Falcon Blade as much. They like the mana regen, but if they want health, they want damage, they just buy strength because they're strength heroes. Agility and intelligence heroes, they don't get to do that. If they buy strength, they get health, but no damage. So they really want their own attribute. So the Falcon Blade, well, it has no attributes, but it does kind of give them both those things, health and damage, great, and a bit of mana, so now they can farm and fight a little sooner. So I kind of think we might see a rise in certain types of agility and intelligence heroes. To be honest, though, I'm not fully sure. I kind of think like Hoodwink comes to mind, who was kind of on the weak side, needed a lot of mana to cast her spells, but when she did, she like output a decent amount of damage. People like Razor, these kind of like more high tempo fighting heroes who will now have more mana and a bit more tankiness with this item. I think we might see that a bit more. And that could shift what the cores pick, which will then affect us. But we'll have to see how that plays out before I can really recommend, like, oh, I think these supports will be good against those kind of heroes. The cloak, if you need cloak for a glimmer cape or a pipe, you're still going to have to get it. It's just a little more expensive. Not too bad, 50 gold, but it is, kind of a pain, so it is what it is. You're still going to have to buy this item if you need it. This, kind of late game, so you don't really have to worry about it too much. We may see more cores pick up Satanic with the loss of status resistance. A lot of cores were no longer choosing Satanic and were opting for something else, which debatably made it a little easier to kill them in the late game, because in the past, it was harder to stun them, and then they would just Satanic up, heal everything, and then you got to do it again and kill them while Satanic is on cooldown. Now, or at least in this recent patch, people weren't really getting it, so it was a little easier to, okay, if it looks like we're going to kill them, we're probably going to kill them. It's not this surprise burst heal at the end. So if some cores start to pick up Satanic again, we have to keep that in mind. We have to be prepared for them to heal up, but maybe you can stun through that. Now that it doesn't have status resistance, maybe you have to hold your stun till it gets towards the end, stun them, and hope you finish that kill. It's gonna be interesting. It's had status resistance for a while, so we'll see if this 10 extra damage catches on a bit. But I think some people will still skip it. I think it may need a little bit more of a buff before cores go back to this. But we'll have to see. A lot of these changes, not too huge of a deal. You still kind of just pick what's best in the game. And I don't think any of these become broken. And even if they were, you have no control over it because they're neutral items. So I'm not going to focus too much on it. Then there are a lot of small shard adjustments. Many people were... Okay, patch comes out, everyone buying the shard just to see it. And now people have kind of got back to regular Dota. Only a couple of heroes are buying shards regularly. So many of these are just slight buffs to shards. And it's kind of hard for me to predict which will be enough to catch on. So for example, Abaddon is a support hero. Is this slow, like, worth 1400 on the shard versus, like, another item? I don't know. Many shards, even after reading it, still feel like they are kind of late-game purchases and that you want other items first. Abaddon kind of being one of them. I don't think he quite needs his shard still. Alchemist, I think, is still more in the core role. We weren't sure if support Alch might catch on, but I don't think quite yet. We'll see if someone innovates that. Axe, not really a support. And if you are playing him as support, I don't think you're going to get this shard. A Batrider, this is an important one. This is not a shard change, this is to the hero. In this recent patch, every game was a good Batrider game. In the past, Batrider, like every other Dota hero, has good games and bad games. And it was usually focused around his laning stage. If he had a good lane, which was opponents he could bully out with Sticky Napalm and Firefly, then it was good. It was a good Batrider game. If they had any kind of Dispel, Oracle, Slark, Abaddon, those kind of heroes, not a good Batrider game. With the Ancient change, every game was a good Batrider game. Oh, I can't play the lane? I guess I'll just go farm these Ancients super fast. And so he was just good every single game. He always had a good Batrider game, and that's not very fun. So this change will make it so you actually have to look at the draft and decide, oh, you know what, I can't really play my lane, and I don't have this free recovery mechanic. Maybe I won't play Batrider. So this should start to kill off Batrider a little bit. I don't know if you guys even saw Batrider that much. I know he's not. He's usually more common in... God, I didn't mean to insult you like that, but he's usually more common in high-tier games and not so common in lower brackets. So maybe you guys didn't even see Batrider. But yeah, sorry for the insult. Beastmaster, very good with the Necro book. Think he'll still be good with the Necro book, but he'll have a slightly worse lane. I don't think you have to... I think you'll still see Beastmasters. You'll still need supports that can kill the boar. Someone like Crystal Maiden and just kills the boar. Mirana to an extent, but she's usually not in his lane on the enemy team. Any support, when you see Beastmaster, you kind of have to prioritize killing the boar, and then you're good. And I think you're still going to have to do that. I think Beastmaster can still be played here. So, yeah. Bloodseeker, be ready to TP out when you get ruptured. They're buffing his shard. Might push him like into the core role a bit more. I mean, he was already being pushed into the core role, but still like not seeing that much play. The shard a little better. This is looking good. It is damage and heal with the way the shard works. So, could be pretty interesting. A little buff to Broodmother, but I think it's still just good Broodmother game or not. Clockwerk, I think we'll see him more. This jetpack change, you know, it's a bit of a buff. You're not going to get jetpack every game, but Clockwerk already was kind of popular as a flex pick between 5 and 4. Maybe in pub games, not so common to be a 5. But if you play any captain's mode, any team games, Clockwerk is this flexible pick that can do 5 or 4. And now he's got this jetpack buff too, so he has this very flexible job and skill set. It's like, oh, I need more mobility. Hey, I get this jetpack. Or it's like, oh, I can play like a normal Clockwerk. I just go like normal Clockwerk items. Oh, I need to be a 5. Sure, I'll play a little poorer. Oh, I'm 4. I can get all these different things. I like it. I think we'll see a few more Clockwerks in our pubs. Darkseer, I wasn't even seeing this that much, so yeah, you know. Disruptor, I don't know. I don't think you're getting the shard for the AoE damage, so I don't think it's an issue. I don't think it really changes anything. I think if you get the shard, it's because you want to amp up your carry. You don't really care so much about the damage, but it is kind of nice. But still, if I'm buying the shard as Disruptor, it's because I want my carry it's like a troll, an Ursa, something, I want to buff them up. And I'm not even thinking about the damage at this point. The PA gets 1 extra hit. It does all the damage that Thunderstrike is worth. So I don't, like, who cares? Some of these cores, I don't think they'll really change too much. Grimstroke, the buff to his shard is kind of nice. Still think you buy normal support items if you need them. If you don't need anything, then yeah, you can get the shard, and it looks like, okay, like a decent chunk of damage. But I don't know. I think the bigger thing with Grimstroke is that you should play him before he gets nerfed, because Topson and people copying Topson are starting to play Grimstroke mid, offlane, stuff like that. And anytime a hero plays 2 like support and core roles, usually they get nerfed. So if you like Grimstroke, play him now. I do think he's pretty good right now. I'm worried he's gonna get nerfed soon though, as he catches on. All of these, that's fine. IO, I don't know. You play support IO, you're still gonna play him. I don't think this shard changes much. Same with Lich. The shard a little better with the health changing on all of that. I need to test it a bit more myself. I think it's like okay if you like, oh, I want a nice ult here. The Ice Spire kind of guarantees you'll at least get a couple bounces. But it's also solvable by just being very disciplined with how you use your ult and only casting it when you can see that it will bounce. So in the late game, it is pretty good. When you get that talent that makes it infinite bounce, then I can see it's having a decent amount of value. But in the early game, I don't think you really need the Ice Spire. Lifestealer, getting buffed again. Maybe we'll see a bit more Lifestealer, which means you'll have to be careful with heroes like Grimstroke, actually, who don't like dealing with the spell immunity carry, such as Lifestealer and Slark, or the dispels from these kind of heroes with their immunity, or like Slark as well. Supports that don't like dealing with that. We mentioned Grimstroke. Disruptor is also one, you can't really harass Lifestealer if you're playing as a 4 Disruptor. If you play as a 4 with any kind of dispellable spell, if Lifestealer comes into popularity here, yeah, you're not going to like it as much. Lycan got a bit of a nerf. Cripple moved to level 4, which means his level 6 rotation going to be a little weaker. Feral Impulse nerfed a little bit as well, so I'm hoping this will hurt Lycan a bit. I think we'll still see him for a little bit. So you're still going to need some supports who, well, as a support, really you're just going to have to keep buying Ghost Scepters. You're going to have to buy... Glimmer doesn't even help you that much. Force Staff to go up cliffs, I guess. Yules, those kind of things to survive Lycan. And you may need to pick people who either have the AoE wave clear to kill the familiars, or you provide stuns to try to control Lycan and kill him off pretty quickly, and then you die to the familiars anyways. But maybe a little slower now because of the nerf here. Magshard, yeah, whatever. Monkey King, very popular right now, so some slight nerfs to him. I think he'll still be okay. His Ags, though, this is kind of a big deal because I think they last for about 10 seconds. So based on the timings, it was possible to have 3 clones at a time, and it's still possible, but it's just less likely to happen, and that does make the hero a little worse. But he still flexes in the 2 and 1 position, and well, the Orb of Corrosion also got nerfed a little bit, so we may see a little less Monkey King. I think he'll still be all right though, so you have to be a little careful with those melee support picks. If you have too many melee heroes on your team, you might get punished by a Monkey King still. People are going to be playing him, so keep an eye out on that. Naga's Shard, mainly I'm interested in this armor reduction. I think that has a lot of value compared to 100 bonus damage, like whatever. This 2 armor reduction can be pretty painful. So we may see some more Nagas. Nyx going to be a little worse now because of the movement change, all these like small nerfs. However, Shard doesn't even come out till 20 minutes, and people were still playing Nyx, going this Tranquils, Yules build, very common. And the Shard helped later, but he still had like a decent early game, and that's why he was being picked so much. Like decent early game, and then usually you can find a pick off with the Shard because you're so fast. It's like, oh, I didn't find anyone in the bottom lane. Guess I'll go check the top lane, and you like sprint up there. These movement speed nerfs will make it harder. You have to be in the right place to make use of Vendetta. Still might see a little bit of him. but not so much. Not first phase ban worthy, but still probably worth picking up pretty fast. Ogre nerfed again. So I don't know. It's just harder to play Ogre now. Maybe that's fine because Monkey King is kind of popular right now, and I don't think you want to play together. Though actually on the same team, it's pretty good because you just buff these cores that were popular. People like Troll, Monkey King, Lycan, you bloodlust them, and it's like, okay, I'll just sit back here. So if you want to do that, you can, but you are going to have a weaker laning stage. Last patch nerfed his damage. Now we're nerfing some of this damage on the spells. So his laning stage is not as oppressive, but he's still fairly tanky, and he still buffs up his core. So you have a lineup plan for that. I think it'll be okay. But I'm probably not first picking Ogre Magi too much unless I like the hero. Omni Knight really looks like they're trying to make it possible to play him core, so we might see some people playing around with that. Look for dispels if this does catch on. People like Oracle, someone who can dispel the Guardian Angel. Yeah, and you're just gonna have to not die in the Omni Knight. It's been a long time since we've really had to deal with him. Actually not that long, I suppose. He was kind of popular in the end of the last patch. But there was a period where he was like always popular, and now if he catches on a core, maybe, we'll see. OD, really hard to tell. I saw some people talking about playing him as a support, and it sounds kind of fun. You can lane bully people with your Q and your E. Mainly your Q, because you can always cast Q, because it uses current mana. So the Q gives you a decent chunk in the trading early. Now you have even more armor. You have 7 starting armor. That's wild. 325 movement, you're a race card. Now you have base health. Base health is busted, guys. This means every 60 seconds he has 60 more HP. Over 5 minutes, that's 300 HP. You know, that's so good. But then you don't do that much as a support. I don't know. You kind of have to go Meteor Hammer, I guess, in my mind, if you want to do like typical support things. Or you could just try to be like a core from the support role, kind of like a Wind Ranger in a way. I mean, people are going to try him for a bit. We'll see. If OD does catch on, then I think Nyx will still be good, because Nyx is usually... Actually, he's not so good now that you don't steal intelligence. But it's still alright. You burn all the mana. It's like a lot of damage. I think it's still okay as a response. If OD catches on, I'll have to start thinking about more support counters to that. But I think he's still in the experimental phase, and I think as people experiment, they'll still lose with him a lot. So I think we've got some time on that. Puck, not going to be so good if any of you were playing support Puck. The nerf to the ult, that's kind of like what support Puck did. You get your 6, you rotate very frequently with it. It's worse now. Probably still works, but just not as well. Pudge Shard, a little better. It is a pretty low cooldown, 10-second ult. At 20 minutes, you buy the shard, you have your ult. Every, let's see, by the time you get the shard, you're probably almost level 12, so it's like every 15 seconds you can ult something. 10 seconds in the late game. Sounds kind of good, to be honest. Pudge still struggles with kind of a weak lane, but like, if you get there, if you get to the mid to late game, God, BKB piercing disable? 3 seconds every 10 seconds? Sounds kind of good. I don't know. I might see it. Ricky nerfed a little bit. I think you'll still see him in pubs. Classic pub hero. Skywrath Shard a little better. I don't know if he has space for it, though. He has so many other things he needs to buy, and a shard doesn't give him any mana to spam his spells, any survivability, any catch, stuff like that. So I think he'll still prioritize other stuff, but maybe if we have a team that does a ton of like disables, then maybe you could think about this to like really lock down one hero that you have to kill. Like, this troll is a serious problem, or this Ursa is like the only issue we have to solve, but he's like enraging. He bought the Sange, so he's got some status resistance, picked up some neutral, I don't know, and now it's like, oh, we just need to be able to chain stun this guy. Let's get this. Maybe, but no, probably not. Slarks, don't think we'll see him too much still. Or not with the shard anyways. He's probably a pub hero anyways. Sniper, blah, blah, blah. I think we'll see more Terrorblades. I feel like Terrorblade looks pretty good. I think he's catching on. So look for your supports that deal with Terrorblade. Early nukes to ruin his laning stage because he's very low health. When he goes to the jungle, someone who can follow him and harass him, which, by the way, is what you should do. Even if you're not like the best at it, if he ditches the lane, consider following him into the jungle. Even if you can't kill him, you steal some of the XP, maybe a couple last hits, make him like feel uncomfortable so he walks somewhere else. You're wasting his time. That is good to do. Don't let this guy just jungle because he jungles extremely quickly. Timbersaw going to be nerfed a little bit as well. These mana changes don't seem like a lot, but he casts the spell a lot. And the level 10 talent now going to be nerfed as well. So he's going to have some mana issues, not going to be able to just always do whatever he wants. He's going to have to be a little slower with all his spells, pushing lanes, things like that. Treant, the movement speed is kind of cool. I think if you play an active style of Treant Protector, you're looking for kills, looking to set things up. You went like Medallion, maybe a Blink, maybe a Vlad's. Like this team fighter who's like scouting for information, finds the pick off, that sort of thing. Maybe the Shard works. But if you're playing this like D-pushing style nature, Treant, you like protect one wave, just heal everyone, Meteor Hammer the creep waves, then I don't think you really need the Shard because you just don't move around as much. You're not looking for that kind of stuff. You don't need the root/disarm. So, yeah. Tusk, I still think Tusk looks kind of good. I've been seeing a decent amount of Tusk. I think his laning is fine, and the Shard's kind of cool for later scaling if you need it. So, I think Tusk is in a decent spot. Visage, nah, whatever. Splinter Blast, I still don't think you really need the Shard for this hero. But it's kind of cool if you're in that late game scenario dealing with Beastmasters and all that. But I think she still has a bit of a weak laning stage, so I don't know. It gives her even more like late game potential where if she ever gets a Shard, it's like, okay, cool, more damage. And, you know, late game Winter is still fine if it's a good Winter Wyvern game. But that early laning stage is still a little on the weak side. So if you like Wyvern, like, fine. But maybe not the best time to learn the hero. But she is kind of good against what's popular right now. Against, like, Lycan and Beastmaster. But the issue is, like, because she has a weak laning stage, then if you just get run down, you don't really get to counter the heroes you're meant to counter later. Having said that, Splinter Blast, really good against Beastmasters, familiars, good against Lycan's familiars. Kill them by ulting them, and then their familiars kill them. I don't know, I'm a little conflicted on it. Maybe it's okay to play her right now. Oftentimes, especially depending on your bracket, your weaker laning may not get punished. And if you feel that's the case for you, then go for it. I think her mid to late game is fine against these heroes that are a little popular now. People like Troll, Monkey King, the Lycan, the Beastmaster, those kind of guys. You know, you ult next to them, they kill each other. So if you can get through the laning stage, I think she's a fine hero. And then Wraith King, nerfed a little bit. He's a little too strong. Think we'll probably still see him, though. I don't think he's quite gone yet. Wyvern, also kind of good against Wraith King. In conclusion, Orb of Corrosion not going to be as good anymore. Buy it a little less on your melee supports. Most of the other stuff, still going to buy if you need it, such as your Cloak. Batrider, you're not going to see him every game, so you don't have to preemptively pick Oracle, things like that. Necro Book, Beastmaster Lycan, I think is still going to be a bit of a pain. You may have to pick supports to deal with that. Clockwerk, I think, if you want someone to spam, looks very consistent. Not broken, but I think you can play him 5 or 4, have a solid Clockwerk game just about every game. So if you are looking for someone to spam, there you go. Nyx, by the way, if you were spamming him, I think you still could. I think he's probably fine, but just not going to be as fast, not going to be able to find the enemy every time he ults, no matter where they are. So a little worse. Support OD, maybe. I saw 2B talking about it. He's a player known for trying out a lot of weird supports at high levels. So I'll give it a shot before I can really recommend it to you guys, but it seems fun at the least. So looking into that. And that's about it for highlights. Everything else, I think if you like the hero, you can probably still make it work. I don't think this patch will massively shift the meta one way or the other. Just a lot of little small updates, things like the Orb of Corrosion, which was too strong. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Good luck out there, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.